Besties out there, welcome to another episode of the Bestie Advice, where your favorite besties are the hosts. You have the lovely Karen Hayes and my beautiful friend, Dr. Irene Abrams. Hey, besties out there. You all, we are still continuing in season 6 of the Bestie Advice, where we are talking about love and marriage all season long. And today, it is the same thing. We are continuing on the same love and marriage train, and we have some very, very special guests. The Newsomes. Hey, Newsomes. Hey, Kim. Hey,
Hey,
Eric. Can you all say
besties.
hey to our besties out there? So let me introduce the Newsomes to you all. They are the pastors and leaders of the Greater Mountain of Hope Church, located on the good south side. Is it good south side? All right. Located on the good south side
Good South
of
Side.
Chicago. Chicago West Side, but located on the good south side of Chicago. So let me tell you a little bit about the both of them. Pastor Eric, he is a serial entrepreneur, a very gifted and talented man of God. And my sister, Kim, you all, she is a travel agent, she is a grant writer, and she is currently pursuing her degree in business administration. Come on, Kim. Yes, yes, yes. We are so, so very, very proud of her. So, you all, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into this episode. So, we want to first start off, Kim and Eric, and we want to ask you all, one, how long have you all been married? And two, how and where did you all meet? Tell us this good love story of the Newsomes.
Well, first, I want to say before I answer your question, thank you for having us and
Yes.
congratulations on 6 seasons.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
awesome. So, congratulations to you all. And we have been married 18 years. And the way we met, to me, it's a pretty it's a different story. I was just having a random conversation with one of my girlfriends. I was not thinking about dating. I was not thinking about marriage, but she was just talking about this guy she was dating and how good and awesome he was. And jokingly, I said, "Do he have a friend?" And she was like, "Well, he do." And from that point on, I believe we spoke on the phone the day before Thanksgiving. He was cooking Thanksgiving dinner. I was cooking Thanksgiving dinner, and then we made a plan to come together and meet. So it was, yeah, I was not looking forward to, I was just joking with my friend. And then 18 years later, here we are.
Well, actually,
20,
20 years
20
later.
years later, here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah.
I love that story. It's kind of similar to mine, a little, where I was introduced to my husband, like on a blind date.
Yep.
So, see, them be the best ones. But yes, I'm so excited to have you guys on here. This is their first time Bestie's been on the Bestie Advice, but we know this will not be the last time they will be on the Bestie Advice. So we have some questions for you. So I want to know, because I know that both of you are pastors. How do you balance that all? Pastors, and then still being married and having that time for each other, and then you
Mhm.
have children and having time for your children. How do you balance marriage and ministry?
Let me go. I would say finding that time to do it, so we are fresh in being pastors. This is, I want to say it's been 2.5 years that I've been pastoring. But I've been doing ministry since she and I have been together. And so our children grew up with us operating in ministry. I was my predecessor's armor bearer. So I was his second hand man, his right hand man. I was the one who pretty much did everything, when that door was open, I was at the church. So I had to learn that early before pastoring, being there for my pastor, being there for my leader, but at the same time, making sure that it did not interfere with home. So I learned that
Yes.
throughout the process of going to the
Yes.
church, taking care of business there, but making sure we had family time. We together made sure that we went on vacations with the kids. We made sure we spent that time with them. We had family dinner, sitting at the table together, talking. We had family meetings, all of that. We had family prayer time.
Mhm.
One thing our kids, so yesterday they celebrated I had a birthday musical at the church, and my son, one of our sons, what he talked about was just reminiscing on how I would wake them up at 5 in the morning on Thursdays to get them up to pray. So we instilled ministry in them. So them growing
That's
up,
good.
seeing that, they understood the culture of what it was. So now that we are pastoring,
Mhm.
it's easy for them to tap into it because they saw that throughout their whole lives.
Yes. Yes.
That's good.
K-
Did you want to add to that, Kim?
No, he answered it just like it is. And even though I will say this too, now we have more adult children. Our youngest is
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
So with him, it's the same thing. We make the time. We have to make the time. We take vacations. We
Yeah.
just find things to do in the city, but you have to make that time for your family because sometimes the kids can get a little overwhelmed with just church.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to find the time to make it for them, and that's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. So
Yeah.
talking about your family, can you just describe just a little bit about like your family dynamics as far as what makes up the Newsomes family?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So when we first got together, she had 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. I had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And
Mhm.
so at the time we met, I was a single father. Actually, I have full
Mhm.
custody of my 2 children. So
Okay.
being that when we met each other again, like she mentioned, she wasn't looking to be married. I literally just got out of a marriage, and so I wasn't looking to get married again. And it's like God has I don't want to use the word strange, but God has an interesting way of
That's a good word.
showing His plan.
Yeah.
When you
Yes.
follow Him.
Yeah.
And so he
Mhm.
reveals things when you are open and paying attention to, what he's doing. So, so
Mhm.
our family is, again, we have 4 boys,
Mhm.
2 girls. So, and our youngest son is by both of us together, so we have that brings the 6 kids.
Yes.
Yes. So that makes up the Newsom family, or as we call it, the new car family.
Yeah.
So, her maiden name is Carthen. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So our 3 oldest, they are the Carthen children. So that's
Mhm.
our thing, new car,
Yeah.
But, what
That's
I would
good.
say is, all of our kids, they call me dad, they call her mom,
Yeah.
and they embrace it.
Mhm.
That's good.
There's no
Step.
step, none of that,
No step brother, no
yeah.
step sister.
Yeah.
They are brothers
Yeah.
and sisters. Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so I
That's
think that
good.
she and I together did a really good job with instilling that togetherness and that
Mhm.
oneness in our family, that
Mhm.
there's no separation, there's no division.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what makes up who we are.
Yep. Including
That's
2
good.
grandchildren.
Yes, 2
Oh,
grandchildren now.
All right.
and y'all don't look a day over 22.
No, that is good. You said something that I
Yes.
want to just go a little bit deeper. I love when you said like there's no step. There's just like
Mhm.
you are family, brother, sister.
Yeah.
How did you
Mhm.
get to that point? Like what steps? Because we have all kind of listeners out here. And
Mhm.
you have painted this beautiful picture of your family.
Yeah.
But I know there's someone out there like, okay, yeah, I don't know how to get to that point because we're in
Yeah.
a situation, right? Trying to blend families. How did you get to that point? What steps did you take? Or was it just natural? Was it the kids were open?
Hmm.
Like, what made your family different where you're all just thriving together? And
Hmm.
what advice could you give for parents out there that are trying to blend their family that might not be as successful as you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, of course, it wasn't like that in the beginning. There were challenges. Um, I think the most important thing was she and I together couldn't lose focus of what it was.
Mm,
We had to
Yeah.
work together and be a unit, and we had to show them that.
that's
Um,
Hmm.
in the beginning, you would have the you would have those challenges, I would say. And again, yeah, I want it in the raw. So talking to someone who may be going through some things,
Yeah.
sometimes kids will try to play the parents against one another,
Yeah.
right? But the thing
Hmm.
was, we were wise enough and smart enough to pay attention to what was going on.
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we had to make sure that we showed was a unified front in
Yes.
front of them.
That's
Even if it was
good.
a situation that we disagreed with something, we waited until we got into the bedroom
Hmm.
to discuss it.
Hmm.
In front of
Yes.
them, we stand together.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bedroom is
Yeah.
something different.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they had to understand that we stand
Yeah.
together and you're not going to divide us. And I think that's where they had to realize, and that's when they saw that unity, that's what helped to build the family unity.
Yeah.
Another thing
Yeah.
I would say is when they started calling, I don't want to use the term her kids, but just for the sake of the
Yeah.
discussion,
Yeah.
when her kids started calling me dad, when my kids started calling her mom, it was a conversation.
Yes.
We sat down. Like I said, we had many family meetings.
Yes.
We would sit down, we would get them in a circle, and we would have conversation again at the dinner table.
Mm.
We would talk.
Yeah.
We pulled them together and just asked, what do you guys think about the family? We would ask those real questions.
Hmm.
We would let
Yeah.
them speak their mind, speak their piece.
Hmm.
And we
Yeah.
always did the best we could to train and teach them that speak and say what you feel,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
in a
Hmm.
respectful way,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
make sure that
Yeah.
you can express yourself
Yeah.
and tell us how you
Yeah.
feel, because we don't ever want it to be where you can't speak to us. You can't
Yes.
tell us things,
Yeah.
try to make sure that that
Hmm.
stayed that way. And the most
Hmm.
important thing, I think what helped us the most is prayer.
Yes.
Like I said,
That's good.
family prayer
That's
all
good.
day.
Hmm.
And it wasn't I
Yeah.
pray, you pray. No, we pray.
Yes.
And then we pray
Hmm.
together
Hmm.
as a family.
Yeah.
Our children knows
Yeah.
how to pray to this day because we taught them how to pray. We taught them how
Hmm.
to memorize scriptures and things every
Yeah.
morning. Every morning on their way to school, we prayed. We quoted the
Hmm.
scriptures. We prayed
Hmm.
together,
Yeah.
driving in the car,
Yeah.
getting them together in the living room.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that definitely helped us.
Yeah.
God is who helped us to survive,
He
Yeah.
make
did.
it to where we are.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yes.
we didn't have him. I don't know how far we would have gotten.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is all good advice, and I thank you all for sharing. And Eric, I really thank you for being very transparent with us. And Bessie's out there, make sure that you all are taking notes. I love the fact is how you said that you all were a united front, and I do think that that is wisdom and wise advice to families, blended families, and then families that might not be blended.
Yeah.
But just making sure that before your children, you all are one. Even when you go in the bedroom, you gotta discuss a few things. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're still one, but
Yeah.
we are not disagreeing in front of our children. And I think that that's good wisdom. And wives,
Right.
don't get me wrong. Sometimes what you say, what? You want to like clap back, but we have to make sure that we like
Yeah.
soon as we get in that room, as soon as
Yeah.
we get in that
Yeah.
room.
Mhm.
But making sure that we are not allowing our emotions, to take over, and that we are making sure that we are not putting up a good front, but that we are showing Christ in front of our children, making sure that we are showing Christ in front of them and having those discussions behind closed doors. I do like that. That's very, very good wisdom and sound advice to any family
It
that
really
is out
is.
there.
Mhm.
But one thing I did want to ask you all as far as with your family, like, so you all have different ages and your youngest, he's 17. So what do you all do? Like, what's some of the traditions that you all have like created as, as far as your blended family coming together, some things that you used to do and some things that you are continuing to do as a family?
Oh, I would say one off the top is holidays.
Oh,
That
yeah.
goes without saying.
Yeah.
Getting together every holiday and
Hmm.
just have family time,
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
games,
Hmm.
whatever they want to
Hmm.
do.
Yeah.
That is one of them. And then another one is something new that we're trying to create now that everyone's older is
Yeah.
vacation with the
Okay.
older kids. Now,
Yeah.
but before when they were younger, we would do things like Wisconsin Dells and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
But now that they're
Florida.
older,
Yeah.
they like to do
Yeah.
cruises. So we try to
Yeah.
have an annual cruise with the family.
Yeah.
And then now another new thing that we're trying to do is at least what do you say, once a month?
Once a month.
Once
Yeah.
a month, just have just
Sunday.
family dinner, Sunday dinner,
Yeah.
and they're just able to
Oh,
just
that's good.
come together and just have that time together.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that
That's good.
we started now, like she said, now that they are adults, we have a family group chat that we speak
Yeah.
all the time and we
Mhm.
just discuss things. But one of our sons, he's studied the stock market, so uh,
Hmm.
that's something like he shares stock tips and things. So now what we're doing is we're discussing finances together as a family. Uh,
Oh, yes.
I one of my businesses is credit repair and credit restoration. So I give credit tips to the family and things.
Hmm.
Everyone comes to dad to fix their credit, so
Yeah.
things like that. And we're in the process just to get us all to the place to where we all can get to financial freedom together as a family, especially
Yeah.
with us being pastors and leaders.
Yeah.
Before we can be leaders to a church, we have to be leaders of our own family. So
Mhm.
Absolutely.
with setting that example and leading by example with our own family, that's how we can be able to allow that to fall on into the church. Let that spirit fall to the church to where they see we're teaching our kids these things. Our kids are being successful. This is what we want to teach as well here in the ministry. And
Yeah.
that's what's going to allow them to be able to follow us
Hmm.
in a better way because they see how our family is connected, how our family rolls.
Mhm.
That's good. I'm sorry, I have one other a thing as far as something that you said earlier, and it just came back to my mind, Pastor Eric, when you were all talking about how you all would come to the table and your children were able to express themselves. Um that Now, I don't know about y'all, but I know how I was raised. Coming and expressing myself all the time. Yeah, that wasn't always the case. It was
Yeah,
because I said so.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now as I got older, I think, things kind of got a little bit better as far as like with my mom and my dad, where it's kind of like, okay, they getting older. You can't just say because I said so. But I think now, this generation now, it's very important to have a safe space for our children to be able to express themselves with respect. Don't get out of pocket now. With
Right.
respect. But so how can, like, what's a tip that you can give to a blended family on how to even create that space? Because
A safe
sometimes that's not a
environment.
yes, that's not an easy thing to do, especially as parents when you might not have ever had that safe space to express yourself.
Hmm. And you said it a little while ago when you mentioned this generation.
Yeah.
This generation is different. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that is how we grew up. That's how we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
Mama said, that's what she said, and if we question it, you'll respond with a backhand. So, but I had to learn, and one thing I say, and I openly say this all the time. I
Yeah.
learned a lot from my kids.
Mhm.
Um, Learning this generation now, when they ask you why, and you say because I said so, they're literally going to stand there and wait for an answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Ten
know,
toes down.
and so it's like, oh, you're serious.
Mhm.
But I think that I want to say like this. I think that a lot of our our generation,
Yeah.
Gen X, Gen X.
Mhm.
I think if we were given that opportunity to really express ourselves back then,
Yeah.
we would be a lot of our peers would be a lot better than where they are today.
That's true.
I would say a lot of people I grew up with are dead or in jail, or some of them are just not getting out.
Mhm.
Since the 90s.
Yeah.
So with that, I think if we were given the opportunity to be open with our parents, to talk to them about things, if we weren't afraid to speak to them,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the relationships would have been a lot better with our parents.
Oh yeah.
And I believe with even with our kids, giving them that opportunity to open up is
Yeah.
because, some of our peers, I can't say that about me because one thing, my mom gave us that opportunity.
Yeah.
She gave us those opportunities to where we could
Mhm.
sit down and we could have those conversations. So I think that's one of the things that taught me that. My mom,
Mhm.
she
Yeah.
showed me that type of way where that wasn't because I said so, but at the same time, she did give me those opportunities where I could express myself and I
Yeah.
could talk to her
That's
about.
good.
So I
That's
think that's
good.
what helped out. But we wanted to make sure because knowing that technology was coming up, knowing what they were getting ready to face, all the challenges that they were having, we had to know what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to give them that safe space to talk to us because we didn't want, like, I didn't want my daughters to go talk to somebody else about
Mhm.
boys,
That part.
young men, things
Yes.
like that. I wanted to
Yes.
make sure that they were comfortable with talking to dad.
Yeah.
Same thing for her with
Yes.
the girls
Yeah.
and even with the boys, she made sure that she kept a good relationship with the girls. And I
Mhm.
would even say this, she taught me a thing because what we used to always have with our parents, I'm not your friend, I'm your daddy, I'm your mama, and she was having that type of relationship with them growing up, that she was their friend. And
Mhm.
I had a different opinion about that because that was how I was raised, but she taught me something and
Yeah.
I had to learn that lesson from her.
Mhm.
you know let them be your friend so that they can trust you. Because my thing
Yeah.
was, I'm dad, I ain't friend,
Mhm. Mhm.
But it showed me
Mhm.
something. And when I realized that, I said, you know what, you're right. And I
Yeah.
didn't have a problem with telling her that she was right.
That's good. You said, I'm not your little friend.
Yeah, I understand that all too well because you don't want them to go too far.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
wait, hold on.
Right.
Don't cross this line. Don't cross this line. Trust me, I understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I want to get back to the marriage where, I want to talk, about the couple and get back to where it's stripped down to where it's just you and
Yeah.
your husband. How and this would be more for you, Kim. How do you protect your marriage when it comes to ministry? Because ministry can be consuming and where
Mhm.
everything is about the church. Everything is about the church. And you often can get lost in that. But,
Mhm.
you get in the bed with Eric, and Eric gets in the bed with Kim. No titles, no titles. Yeah, not
Yep.
saying Jesus keeping it across,
Mhm.
nothing like that. It's a love story. So how do you protect your marriage where you're not consumed with ministry?
So before he even became pastor, when we knew that it was getting to that place,
Yeah.
we had that conversation in the beginning. I let him know when you're at home, your husband, Eric. When we're at church, your pastor. And it was just that communication that we had, even with, and I think that's the challenge kind of for both of us, because with him, yes, it can be church 24/7. It can be. And sometimes I have to say, okay, enough about church when it gets
Mhm.
late at night. enough about church.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna sit down, watch TV or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
But it's a challenge, I say, for me too, because sometimes I may end up going back on what I say and end up talking about church. So it's
Mhm.
something that we're both working on because it's still
Yeah.
kind of fresh and new. But
Mhm.
one thing that we do is we make sure we have date night every week.
Oh, good.
That's good.
We
That's
have date
good.
night every week. And date night, we're not supposed to talk about ministry or
Right.
church. But if we find ourselves in that conversation, we're gonna say, okay. We said we're not talking about church.
Yeah.
And then we'll
Yeah.
get back to our original conversation. So it's
Yeah.
something that we're still working on. It's
Yeah.
it's a challenge, but we are working on that.
And I would say this, we do pretty good with it. Sometimes like she said, we will start finding ourselves talking about it when we're not supposed to be, but
Mhm.
we balance each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we show each other, like, if I'm doing too much, she'll come and pull me and say, okay, take a break. And
Yeah.
same thing for her, you know, with church, with school,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
if I, because I mean, and I'm not just saying it because you're on here, Dr.
I was
But
like,
I'm
Lord,
serious.
okay, I'm sorry.
I'm serious. You know, as soon as she gets up, she's in that laptop in books.
Yeah.
9 o'clock, she's in books. She's, you know, and so I said, okay, now it's time for you to stop for me. Take a break.
You
No,
said
that's good.
I'm talking
wrap
about
it
9
up.
p.m. I'm not talking about 9 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay,
Yeah.
now
Right.
take a break.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
let's go for a walk.
Yeah.
You know, let's
Yeah.
do
That's
something.
good.
You know, just
Yeah.
take a little bit of a break. You know,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
balance each other out,
We
and
do.
again, we make that time for one another. And I'll put this out there, so in case if any of the church members are watching, Thursdays is my day. It's our day. We do nothing. No church, no work, no nothing.
Love that.
I don't
Yeah.
have weekends. So weekends are my
Yeah.
busiest time. Saturdays are my busiest.
Right.
Sunday all day church, you know.
Yeah.
Monday I'm recuperating from Sunday, but yet I've been on the phone
Yeah.
all day today. So for meetings,
Wow.
you know. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Thursday is our day.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday,
Mhm.
and to be honest with you, I'm probably folding clothes. You know, I'm still doing work,
Yeah.
but I'm
Mhm.
not doing church work. I'm not doing
Yeah.
business work.
Mhm.
I'm just chilling,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and things like
Yeah.
that. So, but yeah, so
Yeah.
we have to make that time to just pull ourselves away when we
Mhm.
need to, when it's necessary.
Yeah, like you said, we balance
Yeah.
each other out. Ministry,
Yeah.
making sure he taking the time, maybe with school and ministry, he'll say, okay,
Mhm.
we're going to the movies. I already bought the tickets, so
Right.
it's no turning
Mhm.
back. So yeah, we
Mhm.
balance each other out.
Yeah. And we're
No, I
blessed
think
to
that
literally
that's
have a
good.
movie theater right across the street. So we just go right out to the movies.
Join us next week for part 2. Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.